What's up, everybody? Today, I get to show you these. So the samples came in. Just took a quick gander at them, and these smell really good. This is like good rubber, if you remember touring car days. So, yes, they are belted. There's no stretchy. Um, See, that's the seam on them. Otherwise, they are a very thin and soft belt. The idea on the first ones of these was to actually go with pretty much the thinnest, softest belt they thought would be appropriate. So we're going to give these a test and see if we can blow them up. Basically, they have a bunch. The supplier I'm working with actually has a bunch of different belts, so we can actually go a fair bit tougher on the belts if we need to. But we wanted obviously to make them soft and have lots of grip, so we went as small as or as thin as possible on the starter. So as you can see, I mean they're pretty easy to ball up. I don't know exactly what shore these are, which we will consider. There's 3 different compounds. They're all pretty similar in hardness. Again, because we went with something a little bit soft just to start. And to give you an idea, there's a Proline reaction, and well, yeah, there's nothing in it. So they're pretty soft. I did weigh them. The rubber is about 52 grams. The carcass is a little bit, from what I'm told, I don't have any voodoos to compare to, but compared to a Proline, the carcass is a little bit thinner. Compared to a voodoo, it's a touch thicker. The reason why I did that is just life, longevity, durability, etc., etc. As you can see, they are equal bead. You can look right through and they kind of line up. So I do have the back edge, and this is one of the things that I wanted to try. So if anybody's familiar with, my lighting sucks. I need some better lights in here. If anybody's run like the World GT R class, the tires for those that CRC does are actually pretty good. And what they do with those is there's a normal mounting bead on one side, and on the other they actually have like a little vanity lip. So the outside edge kind of mounts almost like an A-scale off-road tire, but it has like an extra extended bead that comes down. So basically the outside edge will have like almost like a double bead to be able to glue up, and then you'll be able to run it around this edge. So just for a little bit extra safety. Also, it gives it more of a proper scale size look, because otherwise we would have a pretty big rim in here. The reason why I went with a 2.6 or 66 millimeter wheel is when you start going this thin on the sidewall to make a lightweight tire, and this rim diameter, I didn't want to have the tires walk around a lot. So I actually printed up a bunch of rubber sections out of some of the softer 3D printing material that we have, and compared those. And to me, this was the best balance. So we are going to get started. Actually, I've already started printing some sample wheels, so I will probably post some pictures of those soon. The main thing too that we are doing with the wheels is they will actually come with, well, I don't have anything handy to show, but all right, so this is one of the clear air wheels. So imagine, if you will, these were the same size beads. So what we're actually going to do is put 2 valve locations kind of hidden in the spokes in the fronts, or in the front side of the wheel. So you'll be able to use our air fittings, stick it in, and actually run air tires or run foam. So you can take the tires, build them with foam, and if you get to a place that's really high grip, you can stick the air knot. You can stick the valves into the wheels. Actually, there'll be ports for 2, so you'll be able to put ports in both. That way they're counterbalanced. That way the wheels should stay fairly balanced. You can stick the air port in, add some pressure to them beyond what the foam insert gives, and the foam insert will help the lateral movement, and then you can dial in the air if you're on a super sticky track with a little bit more pressure above and beyond what the foam insert will give you. So that's kind of idea with that. I'm actually going to go and grab a bunch of different foam samples here pretty quick from a local place that has some stuff in stock, and then get hooked up with a supplier to cut all the inserts for us. So we will have the 2 different foam inserts, the 3 different compounds, and of course the different wheel styles. So all that stuff is in the works, which in working on all that is why all that's still a pile of parts right there. So I really got to get cranking on building a car to be able to test some of this stuff. And I have to check with Frank because of our weather here and all the rain and everything we've had lately about getting meeting up with him, comparing these to some tires and seeing. The main idea that I really want to do is I want to get these good enough out of the package to where you guys literally can glue them, prep them, run. That's it. From my experience over the years with touring car racing, I really don't understand why everybody's sanding tires to break in the surface. All the years of racing we have done with touring cars and all that, like fresh, nice tires straight out of the package are always the most grip. I don't really understand the need for all the 80 grit and 120 grit sanding that people are doing on these. So I really want a tire that you literally take out of the package, you glue up and put on your car, you prep and you race. That's it. So that's my goal with this. I don't want to have people sanding or any of that kind of stuff on tires. About the minimum you would do is if you get some little nippers, like flush mount nippers like we have for doing our 3D printed stuff, and you can just clip the bead if there's any bit of rubber sticking out. But let's face it, you guys do a single burnout before a run and that bead's going to be gone. So there's really no point in sanding tires to break them in, because again, in my opinion, that's terrible for any tire, because you're instantly heat cycling the tire. If you're gonna do that, I would just recommend putting these in your heating blankets, or and putting your additive on that way and letting them soak in and then go and run. I really don't want to see people sanding these if I can help it. So that's a big goal of mine. And I'm trying to make these to where you don't have to do any sort of pre-prep as far as something to soften them or whatever before a run. So you can take them out of the package, glue them, go to a race, throw them down, and go race. So I'm pretty adamant about wanting to be able to do that. That way there's no kind of crazy processes or extra prep for anybody, just a good tire straight out of the package. So they are 107 millimeter in diameter. They are 50 millimeters wide. The wheels are 66 millimeters in diameter, equal front and back. And the rubber itself weighs about 52 grams currently. That's pending any tweaks. If we do end up going, I can't imagine us going thicker on the carcass than these. If anything, we might go a touch thinner if we need to. But for the most part, that's where we should be on that. Again, we're going to try and blow up some, so I might video that, where I might put like a 5.5 in a car with a ton of boost and gear. And I actually bought a why am I drawing a blank? A meter to be able to check the RPM, and so I can spin them up and see what RPM we can break a belt. And then from there, we're just going to do some testing and start getting going on a bunch of compounds. So there'll be more picks and all kinds of stuff coming, and hopefully lots of passes here testing soon. This first batch I want to keep with me. So we're going to try and run with Frank. I might try and make it down to Indiana, where there's an indoor place running. At that point, I can let some people give them a try there. Barring no issues before we get there, but I think these will be fine. So we should be able to get down there at some point and make some hits. And then from there, the next batch, once I start getting in some other rubber samples, Because, by the way, too, I know some places don't race with prep. So I do actually want to try these literally, no prep, no track, no tire, and see if we can't make something for the places that don't allow anything other than, simple green or nothing at all. So I'm curious if we can find a compound that works great for that. And like I said, we're starting with the 3 compounds. We may, as we progress, we may change that to 2 that are like classified specifically for asphalt, and then 2 that are classified specifically for concrete, and just with 2 hardnesses for temperature range. That's kind of my ideal limit on things, but we don't have knowledge on that, on the 2 surfaces a bunch yet. So once we get more of that testing in, and maybe during the summer, if we actually find something that's particularly better, at that point we would introduce something new or tweak, maybe the medium, if from primarily from looking at the orders, everybody's ordering softs and super softs and some of the pre-orders. So all of this stuff is up for pre-order on our website. Right now, the prototype mold obviously is paid for. The production mold is already paid for. So if anybody's worried about these actually making it, well, that's some big chunks that are already done. The rims we are working on and still trying to get the suppliers quoted and figured out, mainly because I'm particular about the material that I want to use for these. I have some experience from working with some other companies in the past. I did the designs and the work on the Jayco Prism wheels. Some people may know those from the on-road and even the Basher stuff, because I know they did a bunch of like Jado wheels and stuff like that I drew up for Jayco. So I know the materials we used on those, and a few other things from like my Kyosho gas racing experience days. So we're trying to get everything ironed out, ready for testing, and to where we can start sending some stuff out to maybe like a pair or 2, probably just a pair or something like that, to like a club or a group of racers that they can kind of pass around later on in the future. That would be ideal, to let people give them a try before production's available. I am still bugging the supplier about how many tires I could make out of the prototype tool, just to see like if I can get some small runs of stuff and kind of go beyond. So what I may do, and this is something we're talking about out of the pre-orders, I'm actually going to get like I don't know, either a hat or like a bingo, not bingo, maybe a bingo chip roller thing. And we're going to take everybody's name that was in our pre-order list as of, I want to say maybe, I don't know, maybe the 22nd of December. And at that point, we will take all the names that are in there, and we will start doing like maybe every couple weeks, I'll do a drawing to where I will send somebody, whoever's name we pull out of the hat or out of the roller or whatever, we're going to send them a free pair of these to play with. So we're going to do some fun stuff like that with this and that. So we'll see. But like I said, these are pretty soft. Any of the old touring car guys remember the tires that we really, really liked before they told us, well, they can't get that compound anymore because, well, that chemical isn't allowed. It's allowed. because these remind me of some of the old rubber tires that we had when we first started touring car that had so much grip. And then we started getting all the handout tires and everybody started making everything harder and in my opinion, a cheaper tire that wasn't as good. These don't smell like that. These smell amazing. So I I apologize for being a crackhead sniffing tires, but man, these things smell good. So, like I said, I'm pretty excited. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys will be pretty happy. We've spent the money on big tooling, so production volume should be very high. I am planning into my my costs and yeah, into my cost and things, trying to make it so that these I can airship these in. So it's less money for me, but make sure that you guys have tires whenever you want and need them. So, you know, like I said before, I really don't like the fact that people were talking about banning tires because they couldn't get them, you know, to make an equal playing field. So that's one of my main goals with this as well. So, like I said, they're over on my website for pre-orders, and I'm going to start having my kids. My wife's already been printing out the pre-orders already and just getting them in a stack, so we make sure that any other orders that are coming in, we've actually had a bunch for hoods and things like that. So I just finished another set of hoods last night. I'm going to start another set of white hoods tonight. And otherwise, other orders, we're working on processing as much stuff as I can to try and catch up on the orders. Oh, while I'm talking about that, so some of you guys have seen me beating the daylights out of this poor wheel. Now, we have had people break some front wheels, so it's really interesting. Now, I'm going to jump subjects here real quick, but it's really interesting to me because working at General Motors, I used to be in the brakes group, and we did a lot with brake rotors and brake analysis. And to me, it was really weird to see the people that have sent me pictures and have been able to send me like GNSS runs of when their wheels broke. And they've always been right around that 68 to 70 mile an hour, 72 mile an hour range usually. And each style of wheel has broken in a different way. So I wanted to show you guys something. Let me open this to show you. All right. So I don't know how many of you guys know about. My surface plate is fine. That thing was from an old machine auction that Dale Crappie picked up. He brought me a micro height and all kinds of junk for like $20. So I don't even know how perfectly flat it is. I'll stop using it to bang on stuff though. But anyway, so one of the things when you go ripping down the track as you're running, even on a perfectly smooth track, there is different modal frequencies that I can make this bigger. There is different modal frequencies that rims and everything kind of runs through. And some of the ways that some of these wheels broke reminded me a lot of what I've had to deal with at work in trying to design rotors and things, especially for the high performance cars that wouldn't fail. So it was really interesting to me to see how some of these broke. And this is why, you know, I've asked guys, hey, if you do have a problem, send me the GNSS, send me some pictures of what broke and some information, because I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff. I like collecting it. I like studying it. I like understanding. I've asked a few guys to send me stuff back. So this wheel I have beat the crap out of. Obviously, you guys saw it, but I've also bent it, like where the rim was actually touching the balancer handle. So I've actually managed finally to like crack it. Let me go back on the screen here. All right, so I managed to finally crack it. Oops, got my hand on it. But amazingly enough, it's actually like returned itself back to almost straight. Like, I can't believe, I mean, I have taken this thing and literally like folded it all the way over to where it runs like that. And then I leave it on my bench over here overnight. and I come back the next morning and it's like as straight as you guys just saw it. So I've done that 3 times now, and finally, just before I did the video, of course, I actually broke it right there. You can see I finally cracked it. So again, the only thing I don't know is obviously the temperature ranges, because of anytime you start mixing resins and things like this, you start changing the properties through different temperature ranges. So the guys that I'm working with on this, that's the only thing that they said that worried them a little bit, is whether the wheel gets soft in the heat or whether it will still be too brittle when it's cold. So I have another blend that I'm testing. I know you guys can't see, but I have a small, just Mono X printer over here. The build plate's really tiny. It's enough to do 2 wheels. So I am printing like all day on this thing, literally just wheels to break. So I have like 16 different kinds of resin over here on the wall. Well, actually, Midwest RC, actually I throw it on my wife's FDM printers. I just set them on the build plate for a little bit. I set them there and heat them up, and I got a temp gun and I check them. But again, that's not the same as everybody running in all their different conditions and temperatures. So this is the stuff I'm trying to figure out and learn, is how to apply some of this stuff that I've learned from work, that stuff right there. Trying to learn how to apply that stuff into these. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not smart enough to understand what this does, like how to tune it and adjust the frequency. I do know changing the material parameters are drastically going to shift the frequency. So if the bad frequency goes low to where the rim is just strong enough and it's going to blow right through it, doesn't matter. But this is the other thing that I think is why Frank is able to do what he does, because he reaches the 68 to 72 mile an hour and blows right through it so fast that he never actually hits where it hits that bad frequency and it breaks the plastic, where everybody else is kind of getting to that point, or a lot of the guys that are breaking them are normally in that range. So they're hitting that speed and kind of topping out right at the last, say, 20, 30 feet of their run. So I think that's a good part of it. So, but I'm definitely trying to research this and figure this out, because I do think the quality of wheels and quality of products we can make with resin. I do have like 3 other things that I'm testing, not just with resins, but process. And you can see already, you guys saw how bent that wheel was a few minutes ago. That's what it's already returned to. So I leave that on the counter here, and then tomorrow I guarantee you it'll be even flatter. It's really cool how this material has managed to like rebound like that. I've never really seen anything like it. So I'm pretty fired up with that. So also I ordered my linear rails. So I am going to make a 6 foot tall, maybe 5 pound to start, like basically a demon drop, if you will. We're going to make a fixture that the wheel will stick off. We'll raise it up and we'll drop it and have a cinder block at the bottom and smash a bunch of resin. So it's not exactly the most scientific. It's going to be fun just to see like how bad things explode, and we're going to put it on a bunch of different angles and stuff to see how the impacts are. So we'll see. Ryan Plum. The foam. I'm definitely going to do a bunch of videos with that there, Midwest RC. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to breaking a lot of stuff. Let's see, Ryan Plum. The foam, comparatively, I don't have one of the new ones cut yet, but the foam comparatively, at least from playing with like I don't even have, oh yeah, here I do. From like playing with like let me get rid of this thing. No, wrong way. All right, so from like playing with like a Proline foam, our foam, that at least the stuff that we're testing initially, almost feels just a tick softer initially. Doesn't feel quite as crunchy up front. but it's a little bit more dead. So when you ball them up and you let them go, they don't spring back quite as back. They're a little bit more dead. But again, I'm getting a bunch of different samples of foam to test. You can't use these foam or any of these old foams in our new tires because, well, and I can show you. So you're going to have a big gap to the rim. So maybe this will be good. I don't know. It's maybe something we'll try. It's where it'll have kind of a big dead spot. That is actually one of the things I have drawn. I have drawn 3 different size of my circle cutters, like you guys saw that I use on the fronts. So I'm going to draw those, print those, or they're already drawn, but I just have to print them and then cut some foams. And I'm actually going to be testing with Frank 2 different widths of foam and, like I said, some of these different diameters. So we have a lot of work to do to finish dialing these in, but it should be pretty fun. Lizard Works, have you thought about an environmental lab and do 24-hour hot and cold soak? Are you talking like an annealing and a cryo type process? I've looked at some of that stuff, but I haven't like given it serious consideration on how to try and apply it to the resin prints, or whether it be advantageous to make enough of a difference. It's something I definitely have thought about, and I have, as I was talking to Bob, it's on my list of things to test. There's some other guys on YouTube that have done some fun videos with mixing in graphite and a bunch of different stuff, trying to make resin prints stronger. The big problem with that is you end up, though, having trouble with keeping the material suspended and consistency through the whole print. So there's some of that stuff that I want to try, which again will be printed here on a pretty regular basis. Oh, okay. I figured that was you, RJ. Yeah, I haven't looked at doing any kind of like cryo or annealing or anything like that on these wheels, just because again the cost and time already is a little bit difficult, and that's honestly why I also added the Shapeways stuff. I've talked about it before, but I don't know if I have any. I don't know. I think I gave Danny Stockman my when I won Snowbirds in Pro Mod. I gave him my car with the 3D printed front wheel on it that I won with. But I used. I don't remember at that time if it was one of those. If it was the SLS wheels or if, yeah, because I don't think they had the multi-jet fusion stuff. Oh, where did I do that? Hang on one second. Somewhere around here, I have where this whole front tire project started, and I guess I should find that stuff and probably go into a little bit more detail. But the original thought of it was what I shared on Facebook the other day with the Shapeways, the HP multi-jet prints, and the problem was just looking at them and the cost. They were just too, in my opinion, they were too expensive. The wheels were really hard. I'm sure they would be, probably really durable, being nylon 12, provided that you boiled them or soaked them in some water to be able to rehydrate the nylon after they're printed. That's the one thing, in case people don't know. Make sure the sidewalls are strong for tire prep. I don't know. These are pretty good. We'll see. I'm curious to get a pair glued up and do that, but no. So that's why we put those other wheels up on Shapeways as just an option for racers if they wanted to look at those. I do have those ones here, and I will probably order some of the Shapeways wheels myself and put them in our crash rig when I get that, to be able to compare. So yeah, so we'll see. Like I said, I got lots of crazy stuff we're working on, And just to give people an idea with the wheel stuff, I mean, that's still the wheel that I broke after beating the daylights out of it, and that's like a normal nylon wheel. So again, these will be more stable though in temperature, but it'll be really interesting too to see when we start doing the drop tests and some of the pressure tests that I want to do, to see how much these deform. Because also I think that's why when people go to our front tires, you don't have that deformation and, you know, basically loss of SLR, static load radius, from the tire compressing into the track and getting more surface area and more drag. So I think the combination of being narrow plus pretty hard equals going fast. So we'll see though. I'm a buddy of mine, Craig Stewart, is an engineer who loves breaking stuff and doing fun stuff like this. So I'm gonna try and hopefully recruit him to do all kinds of stuff. So we'll see. I'm pretty stoked. So does anybody else have any questions? Because I have a ton of stuff to do, and I wish I had more hours in a day and I could sleep less. Oh, all right. Some of you guys have seen me arguing with people on these body mounts. Now, this is my car from the A-Scale Nationals. I don't remember if I was leading or if I was in second at the A-Scale Nationals a couple years ago, and I had knocked a body clip off on like the first lap when a guy crashed in front of me. Went down the straightaway, the body picked up, my whole car took flight, and I slammed into the board and knocked the rear shock off. So when I fix this, I'm going to do my downforce video explaining that, because when you take something and you have body mounts on a chassis and your shocks are holding it up and you add downforce to it, you can't multiply downforce. Downforce is downforce. So whether it's a weight, like pushing down on the car, like there's no way to multiply that. It's not like having shocks and springs on the car suddenly erases that. It doesn't work that way. So, and there's a bunch of other things with the way those systems work and the way that they're purposely designed to work for the A-Scale cars that I'll go into in the other video and explain. But I've also, unlike most people, I've actually driven an A-Scale car without those body mounts. I've driven a 235 millimeter nitro car, again, 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, with and without those body mounts. And I've driven 200 millimeter nitro cars. Now people say, oh, it's different. It's not different. I'm sorry, folks, but you can go read a vehicle dynamics book, because I have like 2 or 3 of them, and you can go read whatever physics books or anything like that. Like physics and geometry is physics and geometry. Like you can't cheat it. And aero is the same way. So I work at General Motors. I did the front brake ducts and some of the cooling stuff on the C8s. I did a lot of work helping the aero guys with the underwings and splitters on the V-Series Cadillacs. Again, all the brake cooling systems on that. So I've had a fair amount of time in the wind tunnels and the aero labs, and talking to people way smarter than myself, and also being able to draw and design. And I got to get some better lights to draw and design a lot of the parts and work with them and study all that stuff. So by no means am I like a super genius or any of that stuff. I've just tried and drawn a lot of stuff and worked with a lot of really smart people that have taught me along the way. So the body mounting stuff, I just don't like it, because I do not think it helps anybody actually go faster in the long run. It adds a lot of cost and weight to the cars, and if you do crash, it's more stuff that gets torn up and broke that, again, it doesn't need to be there. Just set up the car properly, and that won't be a problem. So like I said, I think Frank proves the fact that you don't need that stuff to go fast. I know lots of other guys are very fast with it. That's cool. I got no problem with that. But I don't think anybody's going to switch to it and suddenly light the world on fire, because that's not how it works. And if you actually understand how it works and what it does to the car, you'll be like, oh, all right, well, if that works like that, then I'm going to change this and this, and it'll be the same thing. And I just took off whatever, all this cost and stuff. So ideally, yes, standard body posts are the best option. And there's multiple reasons why. You can even change the positions of them. And this is a big thing that nobody understands. I guess I'll go into it a little bit. Okay, you have a body post that's right over center line of the tire, and a body post that's right over center line of the tire. That's your downforce. Now, if you take that and you support your body way up here, and you support your body way back here as a normal car is, guess what? It has a little bit more leverage when it comes to the squat and dive of the car. Now, Mike McDaniels is on here, and he can probably talk to this also, as well. A lot of other 12 scale guys or guys that have tested a bunch of car stuff over the years. You can take the body posts and move them outboard and forward on any RC car, like an oval car or any of that kind of stuff, and they gain steering. Why? Because there's more support and more leverage to the front tires. So how people say that they make more downforce, that's wrong. Moving the body post in on top of the tires, you're actually taking away downforce from the car in that respect. So you're actually moving all that in, so you have less inertia and less, I guess, force from the overhangs of the car making downforce on the car. Now, as soon as you start working into these body mount systems and how they actually work on the cars, then that changes everything again, because what people don't realize is the way the centering posts work and the geometry off of those A-arms, how long the brackets are, whether any of those things are actually on axle center line, all that stuff plays a part in the forces that are distributed back through the body and down into the tires. Now, I saw a bunch of people that it takes that, you know, that the downforce goes straight into the tire. Well, it does when you have shocks. The only difference when you have shocks is that you have compliance. So when you're driving down the track and you hit a bump, well, you got the body and the downforce and everything on your tire. So again, if anybody watches like Formula One or any of that kind of stuff, a long time ago they had mass dampers. Well, the point of the mass damper in a chassis was to cancel out the frequency of the tire bouncing after hitting an impact, or the F1 guys bouncing over curbs, so that the tire could recover and they could gain grip. So if you're taking all your unsprung mass and you're putting it on your rear tire, which is already a big bouncy soft thing, guess what you're going to do? You're just going to keep bouncing more down the track. And your suspension's not going to absorb it and settle in as it should be. So again, you're going to be spinning tires. Now, people say that they're more stable. I would agree with that if you're putting them on the front. Jeff made a comment about if you only run it in the rear, it feels like the nose is pinned to the ground. Exactly. So he just proved my point right there, that you have to put it on the front, because otherwise the front has too much grip. Now, there's other, yes, they also ban mass dampers. Now, the other thing is because of the way the body centering pin and all that other stuff, it works against the roll center of the car. So again, it cancels steering. This has been tried on A-scale nitro cars, and the reason why we don't run those is because it takes away steering, aka takes away grip. So if you want to have the same effect, take your body posts, mount them on your shock towers right at center line of your front tires where those floating body mounts are. You will lose all the leverage and mechanical advantage that you say makes downforce when it doesn't. You can also put a front sway bar on the car, and it will act like the body centering pins on these and take away front roll. So it again makes the car more stable. And there you go. It'll be more stable and go faster, but actually have compliance, so your front tires and your rear tires can go through bumps and the car can accelerate, and you'll probably go faster. Because again, looking forward to going down track, you want downforce to get up to speed, but many people top out. Well, Frank's got the highest mile an hour. Maybe that's horsepower, maybe that's bearings, maybe that's whatever. But if he's not running one of those body systems, guess who's punching the smallest hole in the air down at the top end of the track? Frank. Because this car goes down the track and compresses and sinks. So I will do a much better video and explanation of this on how these systems work in the future. And I know there's guys that are fighting me on this because, well, they want to sell stuff. And I get that. But I'm against selling things to racers that are not going to actually make them go faster and are going to cost them money or, you know, more potential for more stuff to break in a crash or anything like that. Also, for someone like me making front tires, I'm not just saying this because of my rims breaking on those cars, but it just kind of proves the fact of when you take a car and you put some force into it and then you basically take tie rods, you know, for a lack of a better way to explain it, on your front suspension. So anytime you start hitting a bump and that starts bouncing, you're going to start hitting a frequency where stuff starts failing. And especially when you start making things that are stiff, like, you know, these that are really hard for a purpose versus making something that's really soft to be able to bash and bounce into curbs and mailboxes and whatever else you want to hit. So again, there's always a balance. Yeah, so like I said, it's not, I didn't give the best explanation. I will try to give one that's much better. And I actually have I've already thought of a pretty comical way to like introduce it and to prove that, well, downforce is downforce. Those systems don't make downforce. The reason why we run these on A scale is because we will start a race with a 76, 77 millimeter rear tire. And by the time we finish the race, they're only 65. So if you have, exactly. So if you have an A scale car and you start an hour-long main and you wear through all that tire and your body is mounted to the chassis, I've tried it, you are a rocket until about 15, 20 minutes in, and then you start running out of ground clearance. So those cars, because of running an hour and because of the ridiculous bodies that are on them, they have that. But there's also a reason why, because those bodies, in order to hook up those suspensions that make less grip, and I can go through the whole geometry of these cars because I worked, here's a look at my tire. Because of how these cars have to work and run and wear tires over the course of an hour race, they're designed specifically for those body mounts. Now, I don't think for drag racing terms this is ideal at all. So it's just excess weight, excess force into everything, and thank you, Got Launch. Again, I've kind of retired from professional racing because I want to make stuff for racers and help racers understand the hobby and grow the hobby. If a lot of you guys don't know, I used to be a professional driver through a big portion of my career racing ever since I was a kid. I think I was maybe 13, 14, and I was already, you know, traveling the world. I was very, very lucky and fortunate. But with the way the hobby has kind of shrunk and the way the industry works and everything, there's a lot of things I don't agree with. And so with what's changed in personal life and things here, I still love racing. I still love making and designing stuff, obviously. And if I can do that and have some fun with everybody and not race anymore, but, you know, see people go fast and have fun and win races and do that kind of thing, that's what I want to do now. So I'm like I said, I'm super excited. I got super lucky to work with some of the people that I am. Again, these are old friends of mine that I have huge respect for. So yeah, I'm totally fired up about the drag racing stuff with these guys and being able to see everybody out at some races, maybe through the winter or even next year. Like I said, I'll build a car and test some, but I highly doubt I'll actually race. I just will be more happy to hang out and make stuff and test and learn and go from there. So, but for those who must know, because I know you're all gonna ask me, whatever. All right, I got one, so I can share mine too, and you guys can laugh at me being slow or being fast or whatever. So we'll see. So you guys can make predictions on how fast we're gonna run. But again, I see more people are online, so I'll mention it again. Anybody that's pre-ordered, I don't even know what a 3.0 tire is. It looks like 3.0 tires. Is that? Are you saying they're going to be slow? Because I don't think they're going to be slow. Sorry. Like I said, December 22nd. Any orders that we have prior to that, your name's going in a hat, and we will do a drawing and send some free ones for people to go to have for themselves to tear up or have fun with or whatever. So I am going to do that. I don't expect to be fast, but I expect to make stuff for other people to be fast. No, Nestor, these are 2.6. They're 2.6, same size, both sides. So they're exactly the same. So we will see. And like I said, you can see on this one, this is like a Proline reaction insert. You can see how small it is in there, because those are made for a 3.0 rim. So, all right. Any other questions? I've rambled on to a bunch of other stuff I wanted to cover in other videos and stuff. I actually have so much work I want to do, so much stuff. No worries. So we will see. Like I said, I'm just trying to have some fun. I'm really super lucky to work with the people who we are on this tire deal. So we're gonna try and make them as awesome as possible and start making some passes on them as soon as possible. So anything else? Again, like, subscribe, share, all that good, YouTube, social media crap. Help me out. The tires and stuff are on our Facebook or on our website. That thing. Cyrul 3D fx.com, and that's pretty much it for now. There'll be more. There'll be lots more. I think you guys are going to be really stoked once you see how I'm going to do the wheel. So if you weren't here for it, the wheel is going to be the 2.6 wheel, but it will have 2 ports for air valves, and you'll be able to put foam in it, glue it up, run them. And if you're at a high bite race, you can stick the air valves in, and you can put some pressure in them. So, no, for right now, yes, there's only 6 pair of samples that I have, and basically these are going to be to try and break belts, to check dimensions, to do some test prints on some rim fits, things like that. Then we will get into more like foam insert and rubber compound testing. And we will try to get more samples over the coming months, and hopefully more that we can test and play with. And if we give a thumbs up that, okay, this is going to be our C1 or C2 or C3, then we can start sending them to people to test. But for right now, these 6 pair are going to stay with me, and we got to make sure that they don't break or do anything weird. But I really don't expect to have any issues, but you never know. I didn't expect to have issues with our front rims after Frank going as fast as he did, but we have. So you never know. But I know we have the right people involved where if there is a problem, we can fix it. So it should be pretty exciting. So again, pre-orders by December 22nd. We will do a drawing to send somebody a free pair to play with and tear up out of the sample stuff. So that's pretty much it. All right, guys, I have to go swap out some printers, and I got to draw a couple things. And so I will catch you in the next one. Later.